Jean here from Friends of Strays, and we're here with Jennifer Johnson from the Good Steward Training Company, and she's going to demonstrate some behaviors today that we might practice with our animals. So what do we want to keep in mind when we're practicing behaviors with our animals, Jennifer?
So very important key principles to keep in mind. One, we want to understand what behaviors our animals are doing and why they're doing it. The why, or the function of the behavior, is the key to modifying it, whether it's changing a feeling or just changing a behavior through positive consequences. We also want to remember that learning takes time, so we need to be patient and understanding as we're teaching our animals how to navigate a world that was not designed for dogs. So those things are very, very important. And of course, we want to remember that we are our animals' advocate. They don't understand the human world the way we do, and so we need to be willing and comfortable managing situations and helping them, not being focused on how things might impact us.
And setting them up for success, when's a good time to practice behaviors?
Best time to practice is whenever you think they're going to be successful. So it depends on the skill level of your dog, and it depends on how much time you've already put in teaching a certain behavior. You always want to start in doggy kindergarten and make your way up to doggy college. So we have a rule we call the 3Ds: distance, duration, and distraction. Now that just means that those are the 3 elements that we typically want to adjust one at a time as we're increasing the challenge of a behavior. So perfect example, if I'm teaching you a stay, first I'm going to practice duration, so we'll build it up to 5 minutes. Then we're going to practice distance, so I'm going to drop that duration back to a minute and start moving further and further away. Then we add in distraction, we'll drop distance and duration, and we'll add in another element, maybe a cat running by or a person in the environment, and then build the 3 back up together. So make sure that you're taking the time to set your animal up for success.
And can you give us a demonstration of some behaviors that we might work on with our animal?
Yeah, absolutely. So specifically in this series, I know we're talking a lot about dogs that might have some reactivity on leash, because that's a very common thing that a lot of animal guardians are dealing with right now. So there's a couple more techniques that we can use. Come here, baby. So this is Tonks, and then our lovely girl over here is Juneau. So one of the behaviors that you can do with your dog is what we call a Paws Up behavior. Now what that Paws Up behavior means is we're simply going to ask them to put either just their front feet or all 4 of their feet up on a raised surface. Now the reason that this could be really helpful when you're dealing with reactivity is because if you have your dog put their paws up on something, they're going to be focused away from the trigger, the dog, the person that they might want to bark on, and they're going to be engaged in a training game with you. So I want to practice this on tons of different surfaces, in the home, on a walk, and I want to rehearse it about 9 times for every 1 time that I might have to use it in the real world, because when I do need to use it, I want my dog to know with absolute surety that this game is going to get them a reward. So a good way to introduce the behavior is first to use what we call luring. So you're going to want to use some treats in your hand to guide your dog to put their feet up. Some dogs might be a little uncomfortable on uneven surfaces, so you might want to start with something really stable and work your way up from there. Now, once you know that your dog will follow the lure up, then you're going to add your cue. So you'll add the cue. You got to come off it, girl. So you'll add your cue, Tonks, paws up, and then lure them. So add the verbal cue, then repeat the luring, and get them to come on up. Over time, you're going to space out between the cue and the lure, and you're going to see that they're going to start responding to the cue. At that point, you fade the lure entirely, and you can just use those words, paws up, to get their front feet up on something that gets them stationary, away from the thing they might feel uncomfortable or over amped up about, and that's going to give you time to avoid maybe an unpleasant experience for them and yourself. So that's a really great technique. And then of course, when we're working with actual triggers and we have our foundation and we have our management plan, then we can start working on their actual emotions about the thing that maybe they're frustrated or scared of. So the thing that we're going to do is we're going to look for that distance from the trigger that our dog is not going to be having a reaction. So what I want to look for is I want to know that my dog can look at the thing, but then also look away if I distract them verbally, visually, or with a treat. If they're stuck on it and they can't look away, then I'm going to move my dog away and get more distance. Now the game that we use to help start changing their emotional reaction is called the engage-disengage game. It has 2 levels. The first level is my dog is going to look at the trigger, and I'm going to tell them yes and offer them a reward while they're looking at it. Over time, I'm going to increase that that duration of them looking before I say the word yes, from 1 second to 2, up to about 5. At this point, hopefully we can move to level 2. Level 2 is that instead of saying yes while they're looking, I'm gonna wait for them to look towards me and then mark it with the yes. So there's no rush to get to level 2. Level 1 is really important. It's okay to stay at level 1 as long as you and your dog meet. So if Juneau were to look at the trigger, which she has a very long history with this treat pouch, so she might not look away, but that's okay. If she were to look at it, as soon as she looks at it, I'm gonna say yes, give a treat. And we're gonna do that over and over again. Usually I'll do about 10, and then I'll move her away to give her a break. Remember, the thing that we're practicing with causes them to feel strong emotions, so we don't wanna leave them in that strong emotional place for too long. We wanna walk them away from it, get them to sniff, play with them, bring that intensity back down. Then we'll go back, she looks, yes and treat, repeat, 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 build that duration, and then look for that magic change from 1 to 2. She looks, I get to about 3 seconds, and she turns away on her own. Yes, throw her a big party, lots of treats to tell her that that's exactly what we're looking for. This game over time is not only gonna help her to feel way more comfortable or way more calm around the trigger because she's not focused on it anymore. It's also being associated with positive things like a comfortable, enjoyable game. And it's gonna help her to be way more interested in performing certain behaviors that she knows are gonna pay off.
Great, Jennifer. That was amazing. And so what are some resources that you can recommend to people who are interested in incorporating training into their dogs?
So there's a ton of amazing resources out there, specifically for dog reactivity things. There is a technique called BAT, B-A-T. There's a book called BAT 2.0 that is a very well-respected technique that helps to address emotions and gives your dog a lot of control. Leslie McDevitt is also an amazing trainer who has something called Control Unleashed that teaches a lot of these pattern games that we use to help our dogs feel comfortable and confident. And then Dr. Amy Cook is another amazing trainer, and she has a technique called Playway that focuses on using play to help your dog feel comfortable, confident, and relaxed around things that they might not feel comfortable around originally. So that lighting.
You can also use an amazing trainer like Jennifer if you feel like you need some extra help and resources.
Yes, always happy to help, whether it's just coming in to give you the right directions to get on that path to success, or putting in some long-term effort teaching you and your dog how to be successful with a lot of things in the real world.
All right, let's take these dogs inside.
Yes.